Hello and happiest of days to each of you folks. I hope you folks are having an absolutely amazingly awesome day today. One of the best you've ever had in your entire life. All up and down the box for you folks. Alright. And if not, it will be soon. Right, all up and down. Whatever has happened for you folks. So here we go. So today is my 19th Let's Play for the Planet Coaster 2 game that was, this is a DLC, they had their first DLC that was released, the first main one, with all sorts of themes and that sort of a thing, about a month ago, called the Sorcery pack, for you folks, which is a fantasy themed, and that sort of a thing too. I grew up loving a fantasy as a kid, and that sort of a thing too, from Joe Devers's Lone Wolf series, to, Tolkien, and McCaffrey, Moorcock, and that sort of a thing too. And it was actually my favorite genre until like college when I encountered H.P. Lovecraft, and horror became my favorite literary genre then. So I started playing tycoon games with Roller Coaster Tycoon and that sort of a thing too. And then it was after I would start, and then after two, after I finished all the career modes, or in that case, all of the scenarios. I created a new scenario because that was before Sandbox mode, but after that Sandbox mode, and that sort of a thing too, with a harder finances turned on, right? That sort of thing too, based on fantasy lands, and that sort of a thing too, right? And this is basically a larger theme park with 12 sections for you folks, right? And that's the basic core of what's happening here, right? And so here we go. For with folks, and so this is pretty heavily themed, and that sort of a thing too. And so, for example, when I created this Sandbox mode right after the first DLC was created from the Sorcery pack, that's kind of the first fantasy themed DLC I ever recall. From any of these recent, from anything, right? And that sort of a thing too. It's a Architect, right? And that sort of a thing too. That I would do this for too. So I thought you might enjoy this. Doing it together as a Let's Play is definitely sort of inspired, me to push into these things, and that sort of a thing too. So again, I try to make the finances part of this as hard as possible, right? So for example, I only started with $10,000. I had all of the finances for all my salaries, and that sort of a thing turned up to 10, 100%. That sort of thing too. All right. So here we go. But the problem is that, in order to be, every ride has to make sense in that section of the park, right? And so the first entrance there that you're seeing here with all the pink and the blues of kids as growing up, at least here in West Virginia, at least here in America. You can see these are all this is all fairy tale themed stuff, and that sort of a thing too, right? So these need to be all ages rides, things that anybody could ride, things that may not be the biggest attraction, right, in the world, but that makes sense flavorfully, and that sort of a thing too. Now there are some all ages rides I could have built here cheap, I do, right? I just don't feel like that would make a whole lot of money, and that sort of thing too. But they're not themed for kids. And that sort of a thing too, or something that would be, for example, there is a flat ride called the Resurgence that I can put here, right? There are some drop towers that are all ages here, which is not something that somewhat not that one. Here it is, the Skywatcher Resurgence. It's right here, right? And that sort of thing. But I was having the first day, I just had when I had 10,000. I just built this teacups. Which I renamed the Spinderella rather. And then here a unicorn themed merry-go-round, and then some shops and some infrastructure, a place to go to the bathroom, some staffing, some power, and that was like my 10K. And then I waited for a little bit to see if I would start making money, and I wasn't. And so I figured I'd probably need like a coaster, kids coaster, something like that too, kind of push us to the next level, right? So I took out a larger loan for both this chair swing here, which are Glimmer Wing swings. You can see the finances here. It's pretty good. And then after all the changes of updating all of those things I did later, as well as this Sky Center for you folks too. It's about $5.71 too. And this is the kids' right. It is also introduced in this thing too. Again, I just kind of break it even. I let it play for a little bit to build up mine and see what was happening. I was not making money. I know. Sorry. It's probably because of the loan. So I then took out a loan for this. The Ever After. This is a flying theater. And then so what they do is also gave this too. It's pretty easy for me to do because it's all ages. I took out a loan for that too. Then nothing happened. And then I spent a week a day just cleaning up getting my star parked nice. It just didn't work that much either. So then I took out a loan for this Ferris wheel over here, which I named Berry Clunk for them. And then after that, not making me that much money. And then after that, I took out a loan for this star wheel here, which I renamed the Wishing Wheel and have like a wishing tree or whatever. And that sort of thing too. So the wishing well, as I had pun, and that sort of a thing too. Making some money, but again, it was decorating a little bit later. And that sort of a thing too. I felt that we definitely needed something to sort of push us to the next level. This company. So then I took out a loan for this wooden coaster over here, Charles Burner. You can see right here. For you folks, you can't see. So here you can see, here I'm making. It's got good money, good numbers, making good cash. I don't know, about $7 to $8 roughly, and that's not bad. Cash for a ride, and that's wooden certainly can be themed. It's definitely all ages ride. I swapped it from Splinter to Lion and Splinter, and then after that, used some of that money to build the highly coveted, very strong. Lots of people here too. Somewhere, and it was very Giants Ascent. Very fights over here was the bumper cars, and that sort of a thing too. And then I started to make some money. I figured about 13,000 over the next hour or so. I figured it would be nice for me to really sort of push my park over the edge here in the front there. Start making that money, right? All up and down the block. So I took about 9,001 roughly. It's about 8,600 to build this spinning mouse coaster that I unlocked at about $6.50. Actually, it's about $6. I'm showing you here how much it's money. It made no money at all. I mean, it was a money loser, right? Unfortunately, it was just definitely not something you wanted, and that sort of thing. And then now with all those that loan hitting me hard, I had about 9,000 instead of like about all the massive amount of money I was bringing in. So I thought it would be nice for me just to build a few flat lines that I could build to kind of sort of rebuild up that disco space. And that sort of a thing too. And so I built this tilted world here in the center. We just built a 3 spinner, so that's a Grimm's Fairy Tale title. And it was making decent money. $12, not that at all. This twister over here, which I renamed Fairy Lane Fling. I'm making good money, about 10K, 10,000-ish, 10K, $10 each. And then this pixie speaker over here, which is a tiny, and that's sort of a thing too. And then I'll let it, just built up that infrastructure. And then next time I came here, we're at like 19,000 cash, right? That sort of a thing too. And so I built this rainbow slot over here too. Which I renamed to Rainbow Slippers. And then I built, if you recall, a bunch of these sort of detailed fairy tale style things. So if you recall, there's actually fairy tale scenarios, detailed stuff in the game. Oh, I'm having a sip of pop. But none of them have any rides. And so I downloaded these from online places. Like these are my tots at AD4. That sort of a thing too. Then I also built these restaurants up here and these other things here too. And then we got to a really now this place over here, if you recall, is kept up over areas. But yeah, so that is intentionally big. And then because of how gorgeous my park looked, we started bringing some serious cash. That sort of thing. So then we made enough money to open up Atlantis, which is a section over here from the fairy tales. Also over here would be Gothic horror. Over here would be heroic fantasy, like The Lord of the Rings. Over here would be mythics, right, and that sort of thing. So I spent some time just opening this up, and then this walkthrough here, which I call Earth Track, for you folks. It makes me some decent money, so I got that wrong way. Here, I'll show you how much money. It's making me decent money, $20 each. And that sort of thing. Just, that's fine. Just sit there, and then the next day I open up this bowl. You can definitely check that out. Check this out. That bowl with lots. And then the next day we started to build some lava floats. There are 7 different water slides, if you will. Not flumes, I don't know what you want to call them, but there's 7 of them in the game. So the first day, I built some of these. I just tossed it. The first one I did was this Kraken's Maw here, which makes me some serious money, as you can see here. And then also over here would be a nice place for transport wise. That's why it's this fake. Did over here and here, all that stuff. Weird. And then after that, you can see that that's a lot of cash, $65, right? And then also over here, my color scheme became this very bright, darker teal, and then this copper to represent sort of the Atlantis, treasures, and that sort of thing too. And that makes me. And then I also put over here these 2 racers. Have different things, water slides there. And then over here, then the next day I opened up this Triton's Trap over here too. It makes some good money too. And you can also see here, $20, and then I also opened up this Poseidon's Plunge, which I built previously in a previous game. Well, not in a previous game, in a career mode. And Abyssal is that too. Now, just as a reminder, typically I just build things from that are already done by other folks. I've never been great at coasters or flames, right? Or and that's. And it's also harder for me to do it. You've probably seen a few misclicks already. Or just, when I click on something, it might say, are you want to move it? No, I didn't hit the move button, right? And that sort of thing too, because I just hit it accidentally, right? I actually have something called Huntington's disease, which is a neurological condition that makes it harder for me to type in it, I think. But you might have seen that. And so it's a little harder for me. That's also some of the reason why I also downloaded some business. And that sort of thing too. And so after that, we have one more water slides to do. So I did this one over here. And then I built my first flat right over here too, which is right here. It is a monsoon chute, which I built to run the little flood as sort of predicting it, and that sort of thing too. And then the next day, I built this very strong rod. Oh, here, let me show you how much money I made. That actually came deep, right, off all of the aquatics that I decorated in the game. So you can see how much money I made. 30. That's a lot of cash. And then the next day, I built this huge roller coaster. It's actually the most expensive roller coaster. Let me show you and see if I can get that. Nope. This is called Reef Brook. It's the most expensive water coaster in the game. You can see it's got great numbers there with the Outer Max water coaster. And you can see it here too. Those things numbers are okay. It's making tons of money. All of the money at $122. That is just so much money. And I also added a camera for that too. And then so those were added too. And then yesterday, well, actually a couple of days ago. I think I also opened up. I'm not sure if it was that day or another day. Over here, this nice little, and I decorated it yesterday, a couple of days ago when I was playing this game. After I finished recording my video, over here is a ride called the Buoyancy Base. I changed it to the Atlantean Ruins Explorer for you folks. And I initially thought this might be nice as a dive. I was actually going to have this sort of get you taken care of by just diving into the ruins. Or actually, I'm sorry, I was going to have you that's kind of like the actual floor of Atlantis there, because you're actually diving here into the tank and explore. But I thought that actually exploring the rooms would be more flavorful. So I added that in. And then I also added couple of these rooms and that sort of thing to make it more fun. That's another thing too. And then I also built on, I think this was on Saturday too. I'm recording this on Monday. But yeah, so I also built a couple of these rides over here, which I thought would be fun for other folks. And then I also built over here, and this is called this ride. In the game right here, this flat ride here is called the Forge, and that sort of thing too. And it had already been flavored around this aquatic thing that came in the game already. So I kept it with its aquatic colors and changed it to the. I'm probably going to slaughter that first name, octopus. A real costume? I don't know. That is actually the special metal that was in Atlantis that was very, very common according to Plato. And that's the thing. Just actually love that here with those colors. It also gives me an excuse for me to leave all these other aquatic ones in their default colors too. And so I did that one too, which is fun. Check it out here. So much money I'm making. All the kit. That's not that much. It's also pretty bright. So, I'm not using this completely, but I'm not like I'm just bringing all the cash in. And that sort of a thing. But basically over here, I opened up this river rapids first for y'all. River rider. Here's the testing, not bad. And the cashier is okay. It's $8. It's not the best. And then the last thing we opened up here in like the last 10-15 minutes was this aquarium for your folks. And this is also a big giant coaster. The second most expensive larger coaster in the game. For your folks, I think that was pretty good. Check it out here. I'm sorry to worry you. You can see it's making tons of money. All of it. Not the best. If I go correctly, but hey, it's making all the money, so I'm probably okay. Alright, now that was actually an expansion of my park. And so I said that I would sort of try, as was this one over here too. And that sort of a thing too, so I figured I would add a bunch of like benches and posts and these bins here too for your folks, as well as things like these. I also added in these tops here for this too. And so you could check it out all down the box for you folks. And bathrooms and all other that stuff over here. And so basically this part here at the time ended here, right about here where this road is, and then this pole continued along the way. And then I built a bunch of these things here too. So let's take I do like the theme logo of these restaurants or and such too. Whatever. So I thought it might be fun for me to check out all these names for all these things too for you folks. And so the first thing I built over here was an info. Well, it's actually called guest services in the second name for a correctly. Here's a place where you can get like lots of stuff. Do I call it siren? It's a lot of fun. Here I'll show you all the things you can get here too. You can see you're getting sun cream, umbrellas, passes for the pool, and that sort of thing too. Right, so that's pretty good too. And then over here, my people were wondering if you were calling tons more places to shop. So over here I picked up just a memento, and here and then here I also named that to Mermaid's Merchant. Dies for you. Similar to Mermaid's Memoranda, Mementos or something like that. It is over there in this section over there. And then the next one over here, you can check them out too. And then I have all the other places over here to buy stuff to take them. That was our biggest thing. Over here we got the hats store here, and that is that person is on break. That's this is called Triton Stoppers, and that sort of a thing too. And then over here you can see somebody sitting there, so that's good. Then we got a balloon place here, which are called the side ends. Which seems like a fun name for it. And then after that, I then have the chief beef here. I thought I had all the shops, so that's actually missing. Not that it's here, sorry. But I thought that I put over here all of the different food places, but apparently I missed the burger place. Sorry about that. But I changed it to Poseidon's Petty Palace. Fun name for you folks. Then the Gelato Brothers is next right here. So the Gelato Brothers here is typically I will theme it around ice cream. So like the one over there is called the Kraken's Cream Room. For example, well, I thought that's actually have a gelato for you folks, and so it's called the Grotto Gelato. Nice little run for you folks. And then next up here is the soda place. It's the default one, and that sort of thing too. So it's our sips. Over here is latte, coffee, and that sort of thing too. Also Kraken's Coffee, and that sort of thing too. Felt with a K and a K on each side. Nice little for you folks. And that sort of stuff. Also over here, I have another bathroom. I said I was going to build for your folks. It's called Abyssal Ablutions for your folks. And then over here is another. Did I even open that up? I must not. Let's see it even open. Sorry. Over here is another picture place for ride thing. No, I didn't open it. Sorry. It's called Nerodia's Photos. It's linked here to an amazing style. That sort of thing too. Now, when I was looking, it said that all these track tracks here could be given these and that sort of thing to. I can't, but you can find out here where it says the add-ons, and that's where you would go to add it. You can't see it there. I'll just heads up. So that's the reason why all that stuff. Actually, sorry about that. I must hit the. Why is that? That's weird. I thought that rod was going and it wasn't here in the back. That's why I thought it had been unpolished. Sorry about that. There we go, folks. Alrighty. So there is a nice little additions to it. One thing I actually did do that I didn't say I was going to do, so just as a heads up, was I built a path here to connect these two sides. Now, most typically I want my paths to be the max for moving people, about 12 each, and that could only be 10 for you folks. And that sort of a thing too. But then over here, I've got tons of these, like I said, benches, beams, posts, and that sort of thing. I definitely wanted to make that right, and that sort of a thing too, and kind of stand out. And that sort of a thing too, right for you folks. And so we talked about over here previously would be the next part over in this subpart, and this would be sort of Egyptian mythology, and then that sort of other thing too. And then over here would just be general myth here, and that sort of a thing too. And then over here would be over here. Okay. Sorry about that. And then over here would be the other, would be the final one over here. Here we got urban fantasy on this back side. I'm not sure where they are here. I've met them on it, but I'm not sure where they are. But one of these would be Weird West. One of these would be urban fantasy. I think science fantasy would be somewhere around here. Right, it might be here too. I think, but actually Norse mythology might be here. So yeah. I think either Vikings here or Wild West is Weird West. I could move science fantasy there if I wanted to, and that's the real stuff too to get it all taken care of for you folks. All up down the blocks for you folks. And so yeah, I got a couple of different places I could go with this and that sort of a thing too. Basically, as you can tell from that, very little space is one right over here. I probably want to, like I mentioned earlier, keep this space here. And this is here probably at its max with all of these for transport rides right here and that sort of a thing too. So definitely that's is Atlantis is my Atlantis done right, or do I want to add something else here that would make sense for Atlantis? So I could even conceivably put something right here. Yeah, flat either two that would make sense here. That I could right now would make sense if I wanted to knock that out. 2, or I could put another track right here too. Yeah, I'm gonna see what that happens. Like this, right? So there actually is a roller coaster called the Artemis, which I could put here too, but obviously the Artemis would also make sense for the myth section of the game, right? And that's a cool thing too. So definitely check that out here too. For you folks, or just put a flat running here to finish out Atlantis today and then tonight, and then move right on in, and that sort of a thing too. So here, let's go ahead and do that. Let's finish Atlantis, and then hopefully the next time I play, we'll be opening it up in the next section. And that could be heroic, and it'll probably be heroic fantasy over here for you, and that sort of thing. The first thing here I want to do is to connect all these roads. That side road there was good, and that sort of thing too, but I want to see where my roads are flushing over here too. So let's zoom into here for you folks, and then I'm going to pop off and think about that. Awesome. I wanted to check in and see how my people are doing with their needs too, because if you recall, they need lots of shopping, lots of food, and lots of drinks too. So I want to check in with their needs too. So, energy's good. Hunger is okay. Yeah, they're still a little bit needed, not the biggest souvenirs. Also still need there too. For folks. So we're fine there. You can also see down here at the bottom, after about 10 or 15 minutes you can see the total park rating down there. And as your park rating rises, you're more and more people come there. And that sort of, I think that's one of the reasons why. I was able to bring in all that cash, right? Park rating, great stuff. 5 out of 5. We're all maxed out there too. Also, a couple of things I did yesterday, where I hired some more staff. That sort of thing. Just that for you folks, in case this is, last night, not yesterday during the day, but you get the idea. So let's just take a look around. Get them all into some good places. For you folks. Before I do any of that, let's take a look over here and see what sort of messages I've been given. These are all huge big pods and that sort of thing. I'll go ahead and just list those on. I think you're going to bother with that. Or you guys, much either. Let's check out and see what over to here for you folks. Yeah, again, the path is connected and evened out for you folks. So the first thing I'm going to do over here is you can tell each of my sections has a subpath for you folks. Now here is something a little weird. So this one actually has, we're using here, this wood and mosaic. Because wood plus mosaic, a nice little combination. Atlantis. Here, it's right. So now, when it comes to the existing texture, because if you, a couple of times when I was doing that, we were having some issues, right? All up and down the block. Also, you might know, I really don't have many. I did build the path there, but it's like one of the last things I did right before I went to bed, and that sort of a thing too, so I also didn't toss out a bunch of benches here either. So I could put this over there too. I also have a bunch of benches over there too on the fairy tale side of things in the front section, which is really good too. So I could do lots of that stuff here today. Path, flat rod, that sort of stuff too, right? All up and down the block. But the first thing I want to do is just to come over here and make some paths for you folks. And again, couldn't see it was saved at 10, right, which is where I added that path there on the far side of that. So here we're just going to increase it up to 400 folks, and I don't want to too much panels because then that'll be the next place after that. Ancient Egyptian mythology, HD to where right, that sort of thing will be good to go. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just sort of zoom in here. Check it out. So I do want to come out far enough that we're away from this stuff. They're not so far alike. Would that work? Over here too. Let's just check it out and see how that works. Just a quick little check in and see. We can probably use a little more. Stick. Try it a little bit more. So that works. Works here, but here it's about fine. It should be fine. Yeah, alright, that's good. Committed. Alright, 12. Alright. 412. So one place I could put, a transport rod. Would make sense. It'd be right here. So that's not the bad place in the world. But so I was thinking about right here earlier, and that sort of a thing too. But right here, right. But this path probably coming over to this way to meet up and make the next section over there. So it might not be the worst idea to just go ahead and keep this free for transport. That's a nice little thing too. Let's check it out. See what I got. For you folks working, and I could just go ahead and start connecting too. Let me do right in here on the track rods too, which have some stuff over here. If you recall, here I'll just go ahead and show you what we all have. So here, there are 15 rods. For you folks, and you can see I've already built the 2 flumes, or 1 flume. Here, I'll show you. And then river rapids here too. We actually have another flume that's left over. And that's sort of that thing too. So we got some good stuff out there for you folks. But I could easily connect that from here. I could build the first station here, right? And that sort of thing too. Connect and then connect it in. Or just to keep it free. And that sort of thing to have the next station right here. Yeah, let's go ahead and keep that open. Just that. That's sort of I think too. And that sort of thing. All up and down the blocks. So let's go ahead and keep expanding here. And that sort of thing too. So or put a flat right there too. Let's see what I got. Flat rides. Even track rides. I'm sure I'm going to log through. River Rider was built, River Trek was built, but we haven't used the wave which is the narrow or flume, so I can build that too. If they were really small, I can totally do that. Right, and that's sort of a thing too. Let's go ahead and just zoom in here and see what I can do with flat lines there. Is there a wild blue that I can do? And if the wild blue makes a lot of money. Equals its skills. Blue for using. I'm gonna hit the blueprints. Wild blue. It's something that has been feed. You can see it. Probably, it looks like just a basic comic color. It is. So the three that you can see here, or that I already built here, were aquatic ones, right? And that's sort of the thing. Just let me see what aquatic flowers I got. Yeah. So one of those is teacups, which I already got. Here, there's the tiny animal, already got too, and then the others, right? The forge. The buoyancy and the monsoon shoe. We do have the collider, which I can build, or the hammer, so which I can build too. Where you folks, both of those would be good stuff. Right? I think you would definitely make some good money from that. And that sort of thing too. Right? So the hammer swing is how big is that? Actually, while I'm thinking about, let me go ahead and build that road over here, get that expanded over here, just while I'm thinking about, so I can actually just leave it there for you folks. But that probably would go there, the hammer, so. All 12. Good to go. That's good. Remember, over there would be about where this would end too. On this side. That's good. Yep. I love that. Totally see right there for you folks. We could probably put the hammer swing right along that too. For you folks. As well as you can see here is where, you know, that is. And that sort of thing too, so I can definitely go into the hammer swing right there. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Alright, hammer swing. Let's see where the entrance is. It's over here on this far side. That's not bad. Here. Go up it there. Over here. Nah. Let's see. Hopefully it's not in the other side here. It's not. Let me just check in over here a little bit more. Yeah, I can probably bring it over a little more. I want to get a little further away for the, not for the exit, and that sort of thing too, just checking in. But I don't want to have it actually taking up that space from the path. But it's my exit, right? I'll just push back this way and do a little bit of stand. Does that work? I'm sure that they will still be for them. They still go through paths that have stuff in them. But it might not look the best in the world. Right? But yeah. I'm just going to get. Actually, that might not be bad either, because there's probably these decorations there and that sort of thing to work with. What about if I could I possibly do it like that? Sorry, I meant like this. Oh, with a corner, like a caddy corner? No, that goes for two. That one. Yep. Let's just head back to you. go and do it. Let's come in. Sure. How about that? That work over here. Before all that stuff happens, yeah, fine. Two ways. So, let's go ahead and start testing it. Hammer swing. I got it. Ooh. Could I use the hammer part of that? I could call it Atlantis or something like that. That would be fun. Or even the hammers, Zeus's hammers. We'll swap it over to Atlantean for it. It's just one thing about it. Focusing on the forge part. That sort of thing too. So while I'm doing that, let's go ahead and let's just place my exits and all that stuff too. And then after that, it's good to go. I'm also gonna have some pop too while I'm doing it. And then all that's getting done for us, folks. Let's go ahead and get all that stuff placed for us. Over here. It should be the 4 to 4. That's good. And over here, I'm going to need to put some paths and cues and that sort of thing. That's going to be this one. I need to double click on that because our cues there aren't that many cues. So I definitely want something different. Right, it's the arrow cue. It's over here. Person. Over here, can I do it? It's not working. Right here. Zoom in. You can see I'm using this arrow path. Nope. So I'll just go over to here and just hope that the default works. Use the default color combo for you folks. Coming right down to here. So this is the cue. Cue for you. This is going to be swapping over from here into the arrow cue right here. Alright, so let's just knock this down right here. And before you folks, you probably want a couple of these nothing. If they're redeeming the queue, they're not spending money. Maybe just one or two more. Not that many. Let's just check it in real fast for our folks. Try it again. Good, just head over, that should be good to go. Right. outlets while it's here. And I'm thinking about it. Let's go ahead and just do some quick little testing. Obviously, these things typically don't need to be tested, but you can hear again. Flat rise. Gorge. Okay. It's already told me. It's been opened right next to everything in juice. Speed this up a little bit back to normal speed from half. Good to go. Pause, back to half speed, in case I hit it again. Looks like it was weird. Double speed, half speed down. Just zoom out there. 2, now we'll open this up. Take a look at the quick numbers here. Well, not bad at a 4.0. And you can see there, wow, it's all money. That's how the custom be able to acquire. It's still a lot of money. Alright, so I'm going to save this real quickly, call it Forge Built. For your folks, just as a heads up. Actually, that's not Forge. Rise, this is a camera show behind the scenes. Zoom. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is start to build down tons of these paths and that sort of thing too. But before I do that, I probably want to do another path. I'm going over here to one thing. So the last bathroom is over here. Alright, folks, it's about centrally located, or about the middle here of this part section. Subsection here for the Atlantis something. So let's just zoom in here. What I'll do here is I wish I could copy the camera. I don't think I can copy all that stuff. So I'll just hit the duplicate button here to show you what that's like. And that sort of a thing too. Over here in case you are interested. And that sort of thing too, because those, where there's good. We're going to copy over the scenery. As you can see, they weren't connected. And that sort of a thing too. So now we're just going to grab this little thing over here too. Hit the duplicate button too. And for this section, some stuff for you folks. Zoom in a little bit more, make sure that's all that should be. Yep. As it is. Now, you can see it's wanting me to turn it around a couple of times before. That happens. And then we're going to change that one. There's something in the restroom, actually, I think. Maybe I could do. I'll come back to that. That's another thing too, but for now, I'm something called Atlantean Russian or something simple like that until I come back to it. Sorry, too long. I just T in there. Get that sound. Right, folks, too. Great. You can see over here on this side. It sort of comes over on this path a little bit, not that much, that's all. I put it over there, next to it, a little farther away. Alright, so the thing too, you can see that you need one of those that gives you a space there for them to go in. The basic ones typically will that sort of thing. Hold this bench here. And I got about 8 minutes for yourself, folks, and that sort of thing too. So let's go ahead, maybe build some more. Build some paths, more places over here for them to eat, drink, right, and that sort of a stuff. Or just more shop places to shop too. Typically drink more than eat, and that sort of thing too. Benches. But while I'm thinking about, let's just toss down the benches. All the benches in the world can live on those benches. Definitely want to emphasize making sure that people feel like comfortable places to head out that get themselves rested, right? And that sort of thing too. Typically the first place I'm going to go is to the writer's book. Making sure they got some places here that I feel a little comfortable. That sort of thing too. Zoom into, make sure that's good to go. Lined up and that sort of thing too. Good to go. There we have here at the end too. Right, on this side of stuff. For you folks. Also want to go over here to get that stuff taken care of. But they're not going to typically just wander down the path, right, unless there's a line there. Just as that. Actually, let me zoom in and do the lampposts first. The lampposts tend to be where all that stuff work. I think it's going to be fun, yeah. That did not work, so zoom, copy, duplicate. Here. There you go. This one. We have that here. It's a little farther away, but since the roads here always work. I could go on right here, either. Yeah, that should. Up like I was expecting to, so good. More here, first. Thinking about more over here. There you go, good. Couple over here, two I'm thinking about too. Lamppost down for you folks. Let's see how much time I got. Got another 5 minutes, whatever. 4 minutes, whatever. Alright. Yep. all the lampposts in the light. And again, those will sort of be my signposts is the light. And they're also not the worst thing in the world to kind of tell people where paths are, too. And that sort of thing, jump paths. But you get that. Definitely see some nice interactivity and that sort of thing. I don't think it's going through the panel, right? Just make sure. Right, isn't it? We can definitely see people go under it, which is great. I didn't think so. Just to make sure. Over here. Sorry. Lamps and lamps. More lamps and more lamps and more lamps. That was all the lamps and more folks. I'm trying to put that on the right. I think it's weird. I mean, that would be fun. Yeah, it would be fun. It would be funny. That's what we're into. Yeah. Right here again. All the lights in the world are just so much fun. You think about it. Another minute and a half. Let's go ahead and put it there. And that sort of a thing too. And then you know you have I don't want you to have to spend too much time just watch me place lamps and that sort of thing too. So and that sort of the thing too. Now that we know where we're expanding out to, and that sort of stuff too for you folks. But there we go for you folks. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed your time here. Now that we've finished the next section, we'll either be opening on it, or it's either going to be myth here or myth here, or the regular fantasy with the sorcery pack, which is just like lots of great stuff there too. Or I could do here Atlantis and that sort of thing too. I'm sorry, just Atlantis. Egypt. Over here, I think it's Viking mythology. And that sort of thing too. So what else we got coming up? Pirates and weird west stuff and that sort of stuff too, right? So we got lots of great opportunities to sort of build up that sort of thing. Is that stuff taken care of for you folks? So that's what's coming up down like coming episode. Hope you enjoyed it so much for you folks. And let me know what your thoughts are. I'd be happy to sort of engage you with it further. You know, whatever your thoughts are. And that sort of a thing too. And then I want to thank you so, you know, very, very much, right? For just taking some time out of your day and even investigating it, right? And even watching my video. Because we all have so many things, right, that are even happening in our lives, right? So, and so many things are pulling us in so many different directions out there too. So the fact you spent this time with me, that's incredibly helpful. And I appreciate that so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.